My introduction to METALITE has been nothing short of fun and enthralling, as I knew it would be. I've spoken many times before in regards to introductions, which I'd love to have in this channel in the realm of my music coverage, which I satisfied in my ambition in regard to bringing in grander focus with, of course, 2022. But as we're transitioning to 2023, I know, even, again, in what I've released thus far, and you're probably going to see us manifesting, I'm considering all the coverage I provided to many different artists, and I'm very happy to see this goal of mine. It's been a long ambition for years in the realm of what I've covered on this channel. And I tend to cover a wide variety of entertainment expressions. For those of you who perhaps are not familiar with my work, music for me has been a long passion in regard to being a favorite art form. It's my preferred expression of choice. It's been a first love in my life in many regards, and I've wanted to be able to share that presence on this channel with you as well, considering it is such a dominant force and reverence in my life. But I love the experience of, again, gauging first impressions. And with METALITE, it's been an absolute treat. And I knew it would be, again, based on my familiarity with lead vocalist Erica Olson, who, again, I had an early introduction to, and I've shared this story before, through Mortemia. For those of you who aren't familiar with that name, Norwegian Gothic Symphonic metal, one guy, artist, heralding from Sirenia. I would highly recommend his work if you've never consulted it before. He's an incredibly talented musician. But his whole model, again, of collaborative works, especially on his solo projects, with those being, as of recent releases, the Pandemonium sessions and the newly unveiled the COVID Aftermath sessions, which is still in the process of manifesting itself. That's how I gauged Erica Olson's talents, and how I came into a familiarity with METALITE was because of her and through that collaborative effort. And I knew immediately, based on her vocal prowess, she was a force in the metal scene, and even more specifically in the European or Swedish metal scene. Again, I've been very impressed again by the number of groups I've covered in the European scene, and how much I've ventured into that realm of the world of entertainment. But the talent speaks for itself, and for those of you who've taken this journey with me, you know how much I revere that space, because you've probably had the experience of introducing yourself to many groups as well that you've come to love through my own introductions. You've shared that experience with me. METALITE, like I said, I said for a while I intended to, again, gauge their music like I have many other talents associated with the collaborative model of what Mortemia has done, and I do credit him again for this introduction, because I wouldn't have found METALITE probably otherwise. I absolutely love what I've heard thus far. Again, they're an electronic, heavy, rock metal group, and that's sort of, again, what the music I go for in terms of the metal aspect. I'm a big metalhead in terms of genre preference, and even the electronic side. I've said before, I'm very selective in regards to my tastes with electronic integration in music, and yet I find in terms of all the artists I've consulted with in Europe, many of which are Swedish, it seems by operation, that utilize electronic beats. Let's say, for example, and I've given many examples of this in the past, and I think the same ones, Dead by April, Fall of a Cypher, Anima Veil, all of them have appealed to me. It's just something about European music, again, that brings me in. I think it's that unbridled talent that I don't see other places that often. Although, you can find talent really anywhere in the world, but Europe is a gold mine. Anywho, I'm very impressed with what I've heard thus far, having covered in total 9 tracks off of METALITE's work. I'm very impressed with their library of pieces. And now we're continuing the journey and finishing up for right now with PEACEKEEPERS off their most recent album. So now I can say I'm almost fully caught up. A Virtual World, and it's had a great introduction in my opinion. I'm very excited to listen to it in full, and I've also said before I did something on Faith because of that first early Mortemia introduction that I don't often do. I purchased all of METALITE's songs outright in the same respect that I gave to, let's say, by a never comparison, Ad Infinitum. I went to cover them through Melissa Bonney, because she was another collaborative artist off Mortemia's model, and I absolutely loved what I heard there enough that I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to purchase all these outright on Faith, and I was greatly satisfied with what I've covered of their work thus far as well. Same respect to METALITE. Again, my purchase was made in good accordance, because I knew it would be. I knew it was going to be a faithful purchase, and that it would be satisfying, and it absolutely has been. And I hope for some of you, again, you're coming to this video perhaps not knowing, METALITE. Maybe this is a first impression for you, and I'd love to be able to share in those experiences as I gauge work with you, again, not having heard it before. Or maybe some of you are established, fans of METALITE, and you've been fans for maybe a long time. I'd love to hear perhaps whatever perspective you take to this track, if you wish to disclose it down below. But I do hope in part that if you're somebody who's going around maybe artist shopping to see what talent's out there, maybe you haven't known where to look or have struggled, I hope in part that this video, or really any I've given for METALITE's coverage, I hope it sends you down a nice path, and that I forge that route for you to explore talents that I'm sure will be a long sustaining play on your playlist. METALITE will be on mine, easily. So, Peacekeepers. Let's wrap up our journey thus far. I got a couple of the groups I got to consult tonight, so I feel like I've been doing a lot of music coverage. You'll see, at least by my attire, how much work I put into one day in terms of music coverage. I got a lot on my phone. I pre-buy all the music I cover, so for me, there's so many groups that are just sitting on my playlist I want to get to in terms of offering first impressions, and it's taken me a while. But I'm happy to, again, go step by step, the way through. And with METALITE, this is what we're talking about right now. I've been very impressed. And we're going to sum it up with Peacekeepers. So let's go ahead and gauge this piece. I got the music video pulled up, and we can get a first impression for the tune, for ourselves. And for those of you who perhaps like to read along with the piece, again, I try and accommodate audience perspective to the best of my extent of what I can provide. And so if you're somebody, again, that wants the lyrics, I will have them available to you in the video itself. They'll track along with the piece or at the bottom of the screen, and they'll be able to proceed as we go through the song together. All right, Peacekeepers. Here we go. I can't wait to hear more from them. Again, it's been an enjoyable listen thus far in the 10 tracks I've consulted, or more maybe. I think it's 10 in total. Again, strong introduction. This is very consistent in their works. You've never heard them before. Nice integration between the metal side and the electronic. I love it. Great hybrid. Great structure. Wonderful. Even pacing. An impassioned vocal performance, as always, from her. Again, I love this woman. She can sing. God-given talent, when you hear it. Oh, listen to that strength. That devotion. I love it. So rich. Great hit on that end. That's wonderful. Beautiful transition into the next verse. Such a good flow. And again, just listening to her and watching her sing, it's an experience. Nice subtle break. It worked for me in terms of the pacing here. It's really good flow. Here we go, another reprisal. It was so good the first time. Very enjoyable. I like the patriotic side to this too. Imagine again she's speaking in respect to Europe. But you can take it in universal application if you so chose. Great entrance. I'm assuming the different solos coming up, or we're sort of wrapping up. I'm not exactly sure. Timing is just either. Okay, there's our instrumental. That's also familiar with them, and I like hearing it. Wonderful. Wonderful structure to that ballad. Works so well for the song. I knew someone was coming. But you got that T. She's bending back. It's like, there comes the voice, the projection. I love it. This is probably my favorite vocal presence yet on the songs. Ah, there's our key change. They've been doing that a lot too. I'm sure it'll be just as good in strength and range. Let's see. Wonderful variety. Gonna keep getting more climbs. Let's see. But that's fine. I love hearing her sing. Like, again, that is just a testament. That's what brought me in. Like I said, that was the key trait. I knew from Lost Horizon she would be an expert talent to listen to and very enjoyable, and isn't she? I mean, especially for those of you, again, this is going to be a first impression isn't that an experience? I mean, I've never seen really any of the artists. I've never been to Europe physically, and yet I sit here like I'm not a traveler, and yet I have so much fun just going from my basement and venturing into the European countries. Like, I get it, it's a bit more limited than perhaps what others would idealize. I would love to see half of these performances live, and I can only imagine what it's like for those of you who've seen METALITE, and more specifically Erica Olsen, perform in front of you. I watched this video, and again, I'm amazed by her passion. Like, she really cares in terms of the emotions she puts into the pieces. Like, you can clearly tell she's trying to present a valuable sound that is so engaging for fans, or just as a general song. It's beautiful to listen to her artistic talents. Like, I just love hearing her sing, because her range and the power in her voice, I don't oftentimes hear that intention in the volume. So, I listened to many talented artists as well that perhaps have a creative vision in where they want to take their voice and the scope of their pieces, but I've never heard in terms of the force side. I love just hearing that raw power. And then, again, as well as I've mentioned in the past, sporadically, watching how she positions. I don't know if anyone else can attest to this or would agree. It's just something I noticed. The way that she positions herself when she sings in regards to her vocals seeming to be an entire movement of her being. Cloud Connected, for example, was like this, where you're watching her sing and she's belting out these wonderful notes and at such a high volume and pitch that you're watching her entire body, like she reclines her neck and her back just kind of sinks in terms of like the pressure. I wonder if that is helping in terms of the amplification. I'm, again, not a musician by trade. I'm just enjoying music and, commenting on what I have come across that's of worth in talent to mention and regard. I'm so happy when I listen to the passion here and the care for the craft that so often I've heard Erica Olsen express. It really is just, she's an incredible talent. So as far as I'm concerned, on this channel, maybe we've reached a conclusion temporarily in regards to some of their work, but in the future, if there's ever an opportunity to speak on METALITE, which I'm sure there will be, I am very happy to showcase them, whatever that track might be and whenever it comes. Like many of the European talents I've spotlighted in regards to when I've summed up, my coverage of them, at least in regards to what I'm featuring, METALITE will have a presence here. Again, I love to feature introductory talents and to perhaps send you on the path of finding many of the artists that I've stumbled on that I've come to love and revere. I'll tell you again, I keep hinting at it and directly saying it, the European scene is where it's at. Not to disregard other talents, across the world. There's many in America that I can mention that I'm familiar with, but Europe just impresses me so much. I get that in my life when I talk about my music taste, it puts me in more of an isolated position. I get it. But like I always say, I know where to find the talent, and Europe has it in spades. What are your guys' thoughts, though, of METALITE, if this is the first introduction for you? What are your thoughts on the song Peacekeepers? I think it's got a wonderful energy, and the structure, again, very consistent with electronic force of what they're known for and established in sound at this point, but I love the presentation. And again, Erica Olsen's vocals are so impassioned. That's the element that immediately it concentrates my focus. And that's what brought me in the first place. I'm so happy I took that venture down with her and the band in general. I've stumbled upon another great talent. And for those of you, again, I'm sure you'd agree with me, you're an established METALITE fan, but I would love to hear, as well, including your perspective too, but from anybody who this is the first introduction for, I'd love to hear perhaps your impression. And going forward, do you want to consult their works? Does this maybe make you inclined to check out some of their other pieces? And I would recommend it. They've got 3 albums and a couple singles that have released thus far, 3 albums including this one. They're, from what I've heard, good pieces. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on the overall structure of Peacekeepers and your feelings on it, as well as METALITE. I'd love to hear it. And again, what more can I say? I always say the same thing, it seems, in regard to European talent, but the feeling I take away is very consistent. I love all these groups. Again, I'm so happy that I have perhaps taken a journey that maybe others have not. Because I really do look for the talent that perhaps, again, it appears in more unknown and niche space, but oftentimes it's where you really see it blossom. And with METALITE, 100%. They've been an absolute pleasure to get an introduction for. I knew they would be, again, based on Mortimer's collaboration of their principal lady, but I love what I've heard. Great constructions from them. They're a never enjoyable European listen. Just wonderful to hear and humor. They're great. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.